Hey there, Tanker. Seattle Forge here, and it has been a while. I just haven't felt like making a video. I've actually stockpiled a whole bunch of replays I thought might be fun, including one that was a bit silly, but I just couldn't make myself make the video. Sorry. In any case, I have a little comparison here between two Tier 7 light tank aces. The first, and very legitimate ace, is Montana Grizzly here in the AMX 1357 Premium Light Tank. It has an 8-round autoloader, which is 57 millimeters, and can fire very, 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 very rapidly. Little bites of damage come out very, 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 very quickly. Like a lot of the French light tanks, it has very limited elevation and depression. It isn't humongously fast, but it gets most of its power from the burst of its gun. And this one is a little more, has a little better handling than a lot of the other autoloader guns on light tanks. But Grizz has the TOG spotted up here, and it's Bloody Christmas. Now, I've had to make this replay a few times because I kept fucking up. Now, he keeps firing at the TOG, which is, I get it, it's Christmas and all that. But the EBR was next to him. I don't know. Maybe I've been more inclined to take that if I had it to do over. Which, obviously, he's in the heat of battle, and he's trying to take down the TOG as much as possible. Oh yeah, and I'm in this game. I don't do anything. So I was in a tank, and I kind of had to pee before the match started, and then it suddenly became urgent, and I'm old, so I ran off. So I threw my tank away and ran to the potty. Okay, so I made this video a few times. I had some trouble. I had to adjust my microphone settings because I couldn't figure it out because all the settings were fine, but the software that my driver runs on is also what I use to record replays, and it changed my audio settings. So I got to go through like 8 different steps every time my audio's pooched. And Golf T3, he makes fun of me for that. Not nice. One of the things I really want to, and there I am throwing my tank away. One of the things I really want to give Grizz credit for in this match is he keeps relocating. So he doesn't keep going back to the well. You know, he's finding new places to get angles and take shots on enemy tanks. And this is a good map for it, but he still does it. I'm not so great about that. I find something I like and I can get a bit dialed in, and that really does limit my gameplay. But he literally flies all over this map. He does the length of it over 5 times. So he does over 5 kilometers in this match, zipping from place to place to place, making mayhem with his little 57 millimeter autoloader. This is a very fun tank. Oh, the other thing is, so here's how it started. I played my 1357 GF, identical to this tank, except that it has wargaming crap all over it that you can't get rid of. And I played a pretty good game, and we got a Brothers in Arms. I was like, what is it going to take to get an ace in this thing? I've got, a bunch of games in it. No ace. We'll spray and pray at the Hotchkiss. It doesn't work out here. Gets a... Oh, and then he gets in the way of our SU-100's shot, and then, and the Hotchkiss hits him in the ass. So let's pick it on Grizz. Otherwise, there's a couple things he does here. Of course, there are a couple things he does here that are kind of funny. But most of this gameplay is great. Anyway, so I'm like, what does it take to get an ace in this? The very next game, Grizz plays his AMX 1357 and shows me what it takes to get an ace in this. And it was better. It was a lot better. I think I got like 1,300 base experience, and he got 1,500 something base experience. So much better performance. He was better in every category than I was. Shot in the ass by the Hotchkiss with AP, and it sets him on fire, but he has the automatic fire extinguisher, which puts it out. And this game is looking a little better now. We're up 8-6. They still have some very good players, one of them in a very dangerous tank on this map. But there's something to be said for the fact that their best players don't all have any kills. So their KB2 has 2, but the other guys don't. So they're not finishers, they might be farmers. It's 9-7. 9-7. 7. KV3 put away their Firefly VC. And Grizz is once again coming to another part of the map where he does pick up on the EBR Hotchkiss, who's going after our Burt. You don't see Burts very often anymore. First they made it fat, and then, oh no, first they got rid of its insane rate of fire. People used to hate it like the Le Feu, and I think if you're going to have the Le Feu, you might as well left the Burt. You know, at least have one decent SPG in that line. And also, I don't think it was OP because you had to drive it to the middle of the map to tag things because the gun has a very short range. So, yeah, it was powerful, but it wasn't crazy because it had such short range and only took small bites, and you could find it. Anyway, they nerfed the hell out of it. They, first of all, they took away the rate of fire, and then it made it really fat and slow, and I don't see the point of playing it anymore. Just don't see it like you used to. Alright, it's 10-7. Grizz has up to 4,000 combined damage, so between his actual damage and assistance damage, he's up over 4K. It's a great result. If everything were to stop right now, this would be a fantastic game. There's a little more to do here. And we hear the KV2 fire, and Grizz comes around the corner and lets it rip with the 8-round clip, putting away the KV2. So that was one of their best players that actually had 3 kills left in the game. Done. Alright, so 11-10. Things have evened up a little bit. The Crusader took away Al Hellcat, the Dickermax took away the Burt, the rest of the Burt, the KV2, I can't remember what he killed, but he killed something right before Grizz, and this KV3 is actually bumping him. I don't understand that. So Grizz is going to go spotting. And I was actually wondering if his team was going to support him here. It just didn't seem like he was getting... I don't know who pulled that. Firefly must have pulled off that spot, I would think. And then... Now, Grizz is shooting premium now. Now, I don't know if I can't remember. On one of the replays of this... on one of the video casts of this replay, I did talk about the ammo capacity. The ammo capacity isn't as bad as a lot of the French autoloaders, but it is limited, right? So Grizz is having a pretty good game here. He's down to 3 AP rounds and 4 APCR rounds. And the downside of having split your ammo like this is that it takes as long to load 3 rounds in an autoloader as it does to reload all 8. So you're kind of stuck with 2 big reloads. Luckily, the reload on this particular autoloader is not punishing. You know, on some of the others, it's 30 seconds. Whereas with this, it's 14 seconds, which is much more manageable. So Cruz has got 4 APCR rounds left, and he's hunting Artie. Now, KV3 looks like he's in a low spot, and KV2's up on a hill. I don't know if he gets any help. And he sat still to take the shot at the Crusader and is taken out by the AMX-13 F3. But a ridiculous result. Let's take a look at the post-game stats, and then we're going to take a look at the setter game. Look at this result. So it's an ace badge, thanks for coming medals, a high caliber, a scouting medal, and a patrol duty. And this baby has a scroll bar. He spotted over 10 original spots on over 10 enemy tanks. Fantastic. 2,725 damage, 2,521 assistance, and a win rate of 9,434. Win rate's bugging me lately, and I've never quite liked it, but it's really bugging me lately. My game, the first class game, in my 1357, I was worse in every regard to Grizz's game. Less damage, less assistance, less spots, all that stuff. And yet my win rate was higher. I don't know how that works. And of course, with a high caliber, he is top on damage, but also massively on top in experience with 1,580 base experience in this match. 50 shots fired, 33 of them direct hits, 31 of those penetrations. Not bad for a 57mm gun. Pretty impressive result. And most of that at knife fighting range, only 287 of it over 300 meters. And he did do over 5 kilometers moving from engagement to engagement and came up with a 60K profit. Okay, here we are in the Tier 7 British Light Tank, the Setter, which I only got yesterday, and I've played, this is the 5th game I've played in it. Thank you, T44. I understand it. Anyway, these 2 replays back-to-back really show the different levels of expectation to get an ace badge between different tanks. The expectations could not be more different. The 1357 is unbelievably competitive but overpowered, and this tank is neither competitive nor powered. Top speed is nothing to speak of. It doesn't accelerate very quickly because of low engine power. It is boxy. Its traverse isn't very good, and apparently gets worse in the next tank, so I'm looking forward to that. It has a 75mm gun that has less DPM than you would see on a lower tier medium. Its penetration is pretty good, but the damage is not amazing. So kind of think about the T-71's gun, but with really shit rate of fire. This Pantera, I think he's going places. I have a feeling about this kid. Yeah, I think he's going to be a star in this game. Alright, so the vision isn't terrible. Look at that. On the move in the air, and I tag him, so that's some good RNG. Might go in my way. And actually, I do get lucky in a number of areas in this game. But you simply will not see anything like the same level of output from this tank that you saw from the 1357. It just not possible. It also has its own ammunition problem. It doesn't carry a lot of ammunition. If anything, it's even more dire in this tank than it is in the 1357, even though it's harder to get the shots out. You really do have to keep working to keep your gun saying, oh, the P-44's dead. That's weird. Huh. I thought he was really gonna... I thought there was something to that kid, you know, sitting sideways onto the enemy in the way of the light tank circling. Not obvious. Oh. So one of the things I was very lucky here is artillery didn't do much to me. It smashes everybody around me, but it didn't get me. It did try a couple times, so it's not like they just not shooting at me, but I did not get tagged. And this thing is made out of wet cheese, soft cheese. Now it carries, I actually, one of the things too, thinking about my loadout here, so I have 5 HE shells in this tank, because the HE pen is 75, so I thought that might be actually quite useful, especially if you get artillery, that kind of thing. But it has so few rounds that I did, right after this game, I changed it out and really lowered that amount, I think to 2 or 3, just to get a couple extra shells, because even though I loaded up with a fair quantity of AP, I did manage to get through it pretty quickly. So I think the average damage here is 135 that we're looking for, which is middle of the pack. But the DPM is only 1350 with all the equipment on it and a good crew, which is terrible. It's terrible. So I am up to all of 410 damage and 517 assistance at this point, and I'm not even getting splashed by the artillery going after this 53 TP or the P-44 before it. I'm kind of afraid to pop up, not just the guys who are down lane here, but the guys who are at my side. But I do pop up. Yeah, like I'm surprised I didn't get stunned there. I guess GW Panther I thought had a bigger splash than that. Right? You're wrong. Alright, no threat on my left yet. Popped again. Alright, I got the T-44 running away, and we're able to pop one in his bottom. And T-32 playing TD well behind us takes him out. Alright, 6-5. We're up by 1 tank, but we're down by a few hit points. And their best player, the ISM, is down in the trench there, and he is just making quick work of everybody comes at him. And then the Emil is going to pour in here and help him out. And poor T-29 fighting 2 tier 8 heavy tanks doesn't have much chance. I'm trying to shoot down on the top deck of this Emil with no luck whatsoever. Luckily, our Uda's smashed into pieces. Alright, now how do I play this? The 53 TP is really... he's road rage. He's pushed way up to the top. Alright, a couple thoughts on this tank. 75mm gun, not great. When they describe these tanks, Wargaming describes these tanks as hitting like a battleship. no, they hit like every other light tank. They have slightly higher penetration and really low DPM. Hit like a battleship. I actually thought that they might have some kind of HESH round when they were introducing the ITN. They're talking about these being a heavy hitter. Yeah, sure, it's not that mobile, and it's fat, and it has no, no bouncing whatsoever, and I got to move my gun up here because it has no elevation. Something I really noticed when I played the Manticore on the test server is that that thing has no gun elevation. Like they say it's a degree or two, it doesn't feel like a degree or two. I literally could not lift the gun whatsoever. It is not a happy gun. Doesn't depress. It's kind of like the AMX-12T in its lack of flexibility, but it's even worse in a tier 10. But there's something about the Manticore I like, so I'm actually going for it. It took me a long time to kind of figure out whether I would even try, and then I was like, Scott, you can quit anytime you want to. You can quit any time you want to. You don't have to finish it. Really thought I was going to get the kill on the T-29 there, but apparently, despite the fact that you're smashed to pieces, did escape. But he's obscured, so maybe I can get some shots. The T-28 HTC is heading over to head off the F-53 TP, and so I'm getting lovely shots at his backside, his engine. There's a bit of a push on our base, and for whatever reason, our TD is down in the trench. He does have overwatch from a couple of guys there. The T-29 comes into view, but he's hidden behind a building. And I've run through all of my AP, so I don't really want to try and knock down buildings with my APCR, and I really don't have much of that left. Here's my 9th shell bouncing. Shell number 8. Okay, now this is the front, so I got to try and hit those sponsons if I can. Which I do. I don't think the penetration gain with APCR is that fantastic either. So 188 to 220. Okay, that's all right, but not amazing. All right, so let's take a shot beside here, and it drifts over to hit the front of the tank instead of the. I was hoping for like a drive wheel shot, but I'm able to get the side and put him away. So we are up 11 to 7. It's looking pretty good now, and they've got an A45, which is pretty terrible, but it could do nasty things to the unarmored tanks that we have here, and it has a lot of DPM with that 17-pounder gun. They've got T-29, always a scary tank, but he's almost dead. SU-100M1, really tough TD since it was buffed, and it's wedged itself into a corner, so it's entirely possible he could really give those guys nightmares. He appears to be firing AG, though, which I don't understand. He's got a very nice gun. Alright, so time for me to get to work. I'm going to try and do some endgame light tank smasheroonies and get some running side shots at people, and we're able to put away the SU. Alright, nice. And the T-34-1 is kind of having the same idea. And we got an A-45 to worry about, but first we can take out this T-29, and the first shot in the front bounces, probably cut like a brick or something on the way in, but the second shot will finish him off. Lovely. A-45 must know I'm coming, and I fully expect him to be kind of moving my way since I was more obvious. I don't know what he's doing, kind of trapped there in the middle of the open. I don't know what his plan was. Yeah, he does see me coming, and he smacks me one. He gets a high roll, and we're able to put him away. A little assistance there, finish up the game. Not bad. So like I said, it's a comparison really between what it takes to ace 1357, what it takes to ace the setter, and the expectations for the setter are much less. It simply isn't performing nearly as well as the 1357. So Grizz's ace game, miles and miles above statistically, a much harder carry, much more beneficial for his team to be in that tank than this one. I think this tank will get most of its use in passive scouting when it can. That battlefield was kind of fluid, and I tried to keep pace with it. And I did try to deploy my binos, but people were using cover a bit and so on. And I did try to get my gun in where I could. Obviously it's an ace, so it's pretty good. I'm doing pretty well with that tank. But look at these compared to his. I did 2,132 damage, which is nice, but compared to Grizz, it's 2/3 of what he did. My assistance, 1427. Once again, much less than the 1357. A little higher on the win 8. I don't understand Grizz's win 8 score. I just don't. I got original spots on 5 tanks. I didn't get a scroll bar on my result. I did top on an experience. I'd expect that, I guess, unless somebody else got an ace on the team. 1,126. So the expectations for experience to get an ace are 400 experience. That's a lot less than the 1357. And I went just under 4 kilometers, so I certainly wasn't running like Grizz was to put my gun into play. Different map. It's not going to be the same. I fired 30 shots, 26 hits, only 15 penetrations. Much, much lower result than Grizz with his gun. I think I did a lot more of it at about 3 times as much at long distance, over 300 meters. And of course, did not make nearly as much profit. This isn't a premium tank, so I guess that wouldn't be the same, but it's miles different. I think what was he at, like 50 something, and here I am at 4,000 credits. So if you want to be the smartest of the slow kids, the big fish in the small pond, the setter is for you.